Hey, I'm Sean Hill.
I'm Subhan Pantai, and you're watching The Average Joe
Daily Show.
All right. And today is Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, the 5th of May.
So being Cinco de Mayo, I want to encourage you guys, if you're planning a lunch or dinner, to go to your local Mexican food restaurant. And Las Palapas seems like they have a really good deal. I'm sure I'm going to get some of it. They're offering tacos. I think 12 tacos for $13 or something like that. And I'm sure it's going to be better than Taco Bell. But if you like Taco Bell, go eat Taco Bell.
You talking smack about Taco Bell?
Hey, it's okay.
Oh, lawsuit.
Sorry, I'm just saying, Las Palapas, man, they're local.
I like Las Palapas.
Yeah.
Was it faja puerco? That's like my favorite dish from there. Faja puerco.
Really?
It's like just loaded a bunch of meats and veggies and stuff.
It's
awesome.
And the Taco Shack is open too, so make sure you frequent your...
Where do you get it at Las Palapas?
Las Palapas, I think I get their, enchilada.
Like a big giant...
Yeah, big giant enchilada.
With cheese on it.
Yeah.
I can't have the cheese. No cheese for me.
You know what? The cheese doesn't like me, but I pay for it. Sometimes I'll take some lactate pills. It helps. Sometimes it doesn't.
You take lactate?
But sometimes it doesn't do anything to me.
I didn't know you took lactate.
I've been lactose intolerant since I was 21. And I found out later on that most Asian Americans, or Asians in general, are lactose intolerant. That's why when I think back in the day, a little tidbit of history, I've read and seen videos of the King of Thailand introducing dairy to the diet in Thailand. And
was that from a Westerner?
I think because he takes a lot of information. He did.
Yeah.
He's since passed away. He traveled the world and he would see what was working, what wasn't working in their culture or their countries, and he would try it in Thailand as an experiment sometimes. And let's just say the dairy farms kind of went broke. Everyone was lactose intolerant. They couldn't, so they found other products that they can make from the milk.
Cow milk.
Actual cow milks. So the dairy did not go very well. And if you go to Thailand now, things are a little strange. I mean, I go there thinking they have orange juice. Well, they call it orange juice, but I'm thinking, hey, this isn't a country that grows lots of fruits and vegetables. So the fruit juice is going to be awesome, right? So I order orange juice with my breakfast, and they put in front of me, remember the old-fashioned, back in the 80s and 70s?
Tang. Promoted by what, NASA?
The space program.
Yeah, Tang.
So they put Tang in there, and I'm like, this is an orange juice.
Wow.
So that was a culture shock for me. I'll have to talk about that in the show a little bit, because
I used to like the orange drink at McDonald's. Remember that? It was just orange. You just ordered
orange drink.
It was like a Kool-Aid.
The Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Anybody remember that? Do they still have that orange drink at McDonald's?
I bet you some of my McDonald's friends will know this. Look at that! You have glasses on and a hat.
Sweet. That's why I took my other glasses.
I can't take you seriously now.
No, not if you look at the feed.
No, let's look. Oh wait, it's clear. Well, it depends.
Don't look at the feed.
Oh wait, your feed is fine.
My feed's fine.
My feed has you wearing a hat and stuff. It's crazy. Sorry, guys.
Orange drink at McDonald's, fish fillet. It was pretty good.
So
I don't eat that anymore.
So just since we're on the topic, I'm going to talk about why I was in Thailand.
Yes.
So back in 2016, I went back to visit my family, and I went to shoot a documentary called Palms to Pines. And Palms to Pines is the name of the documentary I shot and still working on. My nephew hopefully will be helping me. My nephew, Justin, he's actually a film major. I did not know this until recently. I think he was supposed to graduate this spring from film school, from his, what his studies were. And I went over to film because I wanted to make sure that my daughter didn't grow up not knowing who her family is, where she came from, what her family origins were from. And so I shot a documentary about our family's immigration story from Laos to Thailand to Maine. So palm trees. I don't know if there are many palm trees in Thailand. There are lots of banana trees and coconut trees, but palms to pines was actually suggested to me by a doctor. I used to work at Walmart Portrait Studios back in the day.
He suggested the name of it?
He suggested the name because I chatted with him about my immigration story. And he said, if you ever make this, you got to name it this, Palms to Pines.
Did he ask for royalties on the name?
He did not ask for royalties. He just wanted, I don't even
royalty free.
I don't even remember the gentleman's name, but he was in to have a passport photo taken.
Yep.
And I took his passport photo and we got talking about travel and countries and where we're both from. And we got chatting about my immigration story. And I said, well, I think I want to shoot this someday. My younger brother's written pieces of it. I don't know where it is now, but I think it'd be great to have that story as part of our family history. And I went to visit Thailand, and we were kind of stupid and got there in July, which is not a good time of year to be in a country next to the equator.
That is some heat.
Yes.
And you were going to some of the hot spots, some of the monasteries?
I was going to, we toured probably 25 to 50, it's got to be 25 to 50 different Buddhist temples. That was a lot.
Some good looking stuff, though.
I love my sister, but that's a lot of temples. So I went with my sister to every one of them, and she had to stop at every one because she wanted to pay her respects. Every time she went into a temple, she would pay her respects. That takes time.
So I imagine the incense industry over there is pretty good.
I have to say, anything related to the Buddhist religion or any specifically the Buddhist religion is huge.
Yep.
Anything that will go towards candles, incense, yarn, because they tie your wrist with yarn for good luck. And
what are the boxes they have on the wall? I only remember a little bit about Buddhism because when I was like 17, I dated a girl that was Buddhist. Mm-hmm. And she used to have an altar on the wall and used to chant. Mm-hmm. And I still remember the chant. It was Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Yeah. And she used to chant that over and over and over and over again.
So anything dealing with that religion is a huge industry. Mm. Like I remember we would travel along the countryside, and every few miles you would see another business selling either statues and things like that related to the Buddha. And so it was really it was cool to see, but kind of like, wow, it's an industry. Yeah, it's commercialized. So for me,
I know 10 or 15% of her income was like signed away to that. Mm-hmm.
And then
whatever organization she was part of at that time.
And then, for me, it's normal anyways because we pay tithing on our income. We pay 10% to help run the church and all that stuff. As a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that's what we do. But the thing was, it didn't feel quite right for me to see that much industry built around religion. But it's working for them. It's providing a livelihood for a lot of people, artists and things like that. It's providing a livelihood for them. I know my cousin is an artist. My family actually has a monastery built for my grandfather, who's a respected monk there. I think he's turning. Oh my goodness, how old is he turning? He was 100. How old was he when I was over there? I think he was 103.
Yeah.
He was 100.
I think you mentioned something.
He was 103 when I went to visit in 2016. And but we went on countryside. You'll see like statues and different things, all sorts.
Did you get that man's diet, like what he ate every day? I know genetics have a large part in how long you're going to last, but I'm sure his lifestyle led, helped him. Well, like 103 to me is like. And he's still like very lucid.
Well, he stood.
He's with it.
When I was visiting him, he did daily walks around the monastery. on his walker.
Yep.
Or it was a wheelchair. He was standing on his wheelchair just as a walker to go around. And I asked for a portrait with him, and he and I stood together. He did not want to hold his walker. He did not want to hold a stick or anything like that, a cane. And he got a picture of me standing up. So at 103, he was standing next to me. We got a picture taken, and he's my grandfather. And I was just like, this is cool. This is cool stuff. But anyways.
A century old. Wow.
It was an amazing trip. I'll tell more about it as we go along. And but the name of the documentary is
Palms to Pines.
Palms to Pine. There's a Facebook fan page. I'm working on building a website for it.
And I believe you could use some funding for that to get that happening.
Right, yeah. I'm taking donations to help fund the film so that I can tell the story of my family's immigration to America. And it's kind of on a standstill because of funding, because it requires so much time and effort to edit.
Yeah.
Once I gather, but I found out that I underestimated how hot it was going to be there, and so I only had energy to film like half of the footage that I wanted to film because I was so hot and tired every single day.
Yeah.
So I'd have only maybe an hour a day that I had sufficient energy to go out and film.
Yeah.
Because I was just not used to the heat.
And speaking of editing, holy cow! Like if anybody I don't know how many people out there are into editing, like video. But that is like the biggest pain in the butt. So like when we do these are live streamed and then pretty streamlined. I'll take the video and just kind of upload it, put a splash screen in front and end it. But man, whenever we do a video project, I could have a 6-minute video that takes 30 hours to edit. You know?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, some of these TV commercials that you see produced that are like 15 seconds, even 10-second spots, 15-second spots, 30-second spots. They take a bit to do.
Yeah, it's so my hat's off to any creators that are doing a lot of editing.
So my wife just joined us actually.
Giving you a hard time?
She first was asking where we were, and I'm like,
where are you
on.
guys?
I mean, we're on.
Where are you guys?
So Bill Lyons is joining us as well. Welcome, Bill.
How you doing, Bill?
And he's a DJ. He's super cool. DJ service. And who else is here? Tiffany Dock. She's awesome too. We did a reenactment of the Pioneer Trek from the east to the west, and she was one of the leaders.
I think I met somebody that did that. I did some computer work for them.
Oh, did you?
And their son was going on that trek.
Yeah. So every 4 years, the stake, which is the kind of like an equivalent to a Catholic diocese, goes together. And the last big one we went had I think just a couple hundred kids, but the first one I went on, I think there were like 300 kids.
That's a lot of kids.
And then you add the adults that had to supervise and help organize. There was a lot. But anyways.
And they had like what, buckets for their supplies, their
rations?
Yeah, you have like a 5-gallon bucket.
You have a 5-gallon pail that you have to fill in with all your necessities.
Everything that you need.
For this like, let's say 4-day, 3-night trip. And they are on foot or walking the pulling hand carts and stuff like that. So just like the old west, type of thing. So that was an interesting experience.
In the garb of the era as well, right?
Yes, yeah. So they're kind of in cosplay, so they're role playing it, and they become the pioneers. And some of them actually take on the personalities, not personalities, but name. They're doing it in the name of. In proxy of maybe an ancestor that had done that trek in real life.
And when's the next one? When are they going to do that again?
It's usually every 4 years. We just had one in 2019. I went on that one too. We had to cut it short because a bad storm hit and lightning was involved.
So maybe 2023?
Yeah. So something like that. It depends if they want to keep that going. It does take a lot of resources to make that happen. It
looked like a lot of prep work to make that
happen. A lot of prep work, a lot of manpower, a lot of resources, finances to make that happen. So it's kind of most of these cases, it's kind of a once in a lifetime event to experience what it's like to be without all the gadgets that we
I
have
saw
today.
some of the photos you did. It looked pretty cool.
It was a fun time, really was, and I get asked to go and document it, and I always wait for the experience and long for it because one, I get to go camping, and two, I get to document something that's meaningful to my faith. So it's really cool.
But speaking of camping, if you're out camping in Washington State, watch out for those murder hornets. I'm sure everybody's seeing this on the news.
You know what? I've seen it. See that? I've seen it posted through Facebook, but I never read what these murder hornets are and where they came from.
They're from Asia, so they're now in the United States.
Why is everything coming from Asia?
I don't know. They're like they should be from Texas because they're giant.
Yeah.
They're apparently like the size of your thumb.
Holy cow!
And like a bee suit that a beekeeper wears will not stop the stinger. So even if you have a bee suit on, you're going to be stung. And apparently they are predators of honeybees. So they can kill them by the thousands. They go around and they take the heads off of honeybees.
We don't want these things alive.
We don't want these things in the United States because we have a bee shortage as it is.
That's right.
And we don't need a murderizing, gigantic Hornosaurus flying around killing all the rest of our bees.
So Tiffany Doc is listening to us while she works, she says.
Listening while you work.
And
that is dedication.
And Joe Myers just said, hey, sweet t-shirts.
Look at that. Pretty nice.
Oh, Jen wants to know where those tacos are. So Las Palapas, if you don't mind ordering us lunch, Las Palapas is offering, I think, a dozen tacos for like $13
for
sweet deal.
Yeah, they look pretty good in the picture.
And I would rather have Las Palapas than regular.
The other place,
taco place.
The other place that's more fast food oriented.
Right. And so it's Cinco de Mayo, so let's make that happen. So we're talking about the bees.
Yeah, you don't want to get stung by one of these bad boys.
I just saw a post this morning when I woke up about these bees. Only took like I think an hour it stung a mouse. An hour, the mouse is gone.
What do you mean, like dissolved?
No, dead.
Dead. Like it got transported out.
So if it took an hour for a mouse to die, how long would that take for a human to die? Do you guys know this answer? Let us know.
Well, the article I read, New York Times, I think, had an article on the murder hornets. Everybody's running like a news story on these things. Mm-hmm. But in one of the articles I read, somebody got stung and it was like a golf ball size.
Oh my goodness!
Like welt that built up almost instantly.
So what do you have to do? Cut that off?
I don't know. It's like you think you'd be like
the venom. Is it like being stung by a snake? You know, bit by a snake. You try to get rid of this. Oh my goodness!
I guess a coyote got knocked out by one of them. So yes, if you are in Washington State, this is where they've been seen. I guess those murderizing, gigantic, dinosaur-sized hornets. I want nothing to do with those things.
I'm just glad that some of these things don't start right here in Maine. That they're somewhere else. It might give us some time to figure out how to handle them before it gets to us.
That's why I like the seasons. That's why. So I came from the south of the United States, Florida, and Texas, and once I got to Maine, the seasons drew me in. And the season, like the harsh winters that are in Maine, seem to help to keep all the bugs away and all the reptiles and like that stuff's just not up here because they don't live during the winter time. There's
no poisonous. The only poisonous spider is daddy longlegs, and they don't bite. So and then
the brown. I think there's a brown recluse as well that's in Maine.
And then there's the only snake we have is a gardener snake.
Yeah, I mess with little garden snakes.
And they're not poisonous.
Yeah.
But you're talking about bees and how bees are.
They're essential.
Honeybees are essential. They
pollinate. Obviously.
Are they on the extinction list?
I don't know if they're on the extinction
endangered.
list. They're endangered. Yeah, because the population of them is decreasing.
Right.
And if we lose the bees, our crops are going to be history.
Yeah.
How much can we pollinate as human beings? Spraying stuff, from one to another. It's insane.
It will be. So we need to make sure that there's a focus on making sure these killer bees don't destroy our honeybee population that is already low.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do to wipe those things out in the United States. There's so much commerce and trade happening. It's a global exchange of animal life in general, and it's just
something's bound to come over from another country.
Yep.
Just like a virus.
Just like a virus.
So talking about honeybees and pollination and stuff like that. Are you guys doing a garden?
Well, we kind of want to do tomatoes. Not a full-fledged garden right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a box garden with tomatoes in it.
So this morning, I started slicing up potatoes, like seed potatoes, because every eye can form a plant. So I
You mean like when you leave a potato on the counter and let it sit there forever and it just starts growing?
Yes. Yes.
It starts
so each one of those branches
budding out.
It's considered like the little dimple thing that goes down.
Yeah.
That's an eye.
All right.
And they can actually produce a plant. So
I've had bags of potatoes and I pull them out. I'm like, oh, I got potato plants growing in here.
You can actually plant those.
I should just plant them.
You can plant those and you can have a crop. So of course I went online and kind of figured out how to plant these a little bit. So we slice the potato. Actually, one potato could be up to 4 seeds, depending on how good the eyes are, and the little eyes are sprouting little plants. And but you have to let it sit and it's nice and shiny and liquidy when you.
So you don't just throw it in the soil?
No, because it can rot, mold, mildew, and all that stuff. So you got to wait a day to 3 days to make sure it's kind of scabbed over, and then you can plant them. You plant them 3 to 4 inches in the ground, 8 to 12 inches apart. We're doing it in our garden bed. Those that have larger properties, they can have them spread out a little bit more, gives them more room to grow.
Would it almost be better just to put the whole potato in there and just let it?
For some of them,
like if it was sprouting, like you left it on your counter for too long.
You can if there's multiple eyes, they'll crowd each other. So you separate them; they won't crowd each other so much. So you'll have a healthier plant. They're not fighting for the nutrients and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
So loose soil, and I think like within 2 weeks you should see something sprouting out of the ground.
Next time I forget my potatoes exist.
There you go.
Like you could go open a cupboard and that bag of potatoes. Yeah.
So you just got to remember those couple of things. I found out that when you're planting, we did plant the past couple of years potatoes and they were pretty successful. Is to make sure you use seed potatoes. You could use regular potatoes, but seed potatoes, and if there's multiple eyes, you can separate the eyes. If you choose not to, that's up to you.
That's cool. That's kind of something. What's the length of time it takes for them to fully grow? So what's the season for?
It depends on the type of potatoes. There's so many types of potatoes out there.
Like russets.
Yeah,
russet potatoes. I think good old fashioned white, not good for you, starchy potato.
I think they're up to 100 days.
That's not too bad. So that's enough time.
Yeah, it's about 100 days to produce a vegetable for harvest.
Hey, June, July, August, or July, August.
Yeah, and the best time to do is right after the last frost heave is usually. So we could have done this like the beginning of April.
Yeah.
And that would be fine. So that being said, we found out that we went to a place in Hancock to get our seed potato. I don't remember the name of the business. I'm sorry. They were low on supplies this year because everyone's planting their own food. Why do you think that is?
Because everybody's worried about it.
Everyone's worried about supply.
The supply chain.
The supply chain.
Yeah.
People are worried about it, so the seeds are disappearing from the racks. And people are buying things to plant on their own. I mean, it always made sense. I talked to my friend Jill. They own. I think they've moved. They owned Winter Cove Farm in Winterport, and they had a saying that I absolutely love. Don't plant grass, plant food.
Yeah.
If you have a yard, plant food, not grass.
Because I forget where grass came from, but it was something that was just done because the higher ups didn't have to raise crops. And they had all this open land and they just filled it in with some kind of grass.
Right.
correct me if I'm wrong, because I think at some point somewhere I read something on like grass was something that was introduced in the upper class at one point.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to tend the land, but they had all this open land.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do with this land?
Hi, Chris and Melissa. Thank you for joining us. We're just talking about gardening right now.
Yeah, gardening and grass and like
grass.
Why do we have grass? What's the big deal with grass?
Well, I think I know that in Europe and in England, it's been said that it's kind of a show of how wealthy you are.
Yeah, like the
more grass you
have, more land that didn't need to be
farmland,
crops.
Right.
Yeah, no farmland.
That didn't need to be producing anything for you.
Like a status.
Right, because it showed that you had enough.
Yep.
That you don't have to use every piece of your land for,
So isn't that weird? Like now we're just like everybody's got a lawn and.
Well, we're peasants.
Yeah,
we're peasants in a way.
Peasants. We all have lawns and.
But peasants, people have a bad connotation for peasants, right? When you hear the word
peasant, because you're associated with lower class,
right?
Lower income, lower status,
right? But did you know
that lower intellect? Sometimes that's what you're like.
But did you know the word peasant actually comes from people who are self-sufficient? So
see, I like that way better.
Yeah. So people have the word peasant has that bad connotation, but it actually means people who are self-sufficient. And I'm like, well, I like that.
that just shows the power of how you address somebody with a word.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what that word is. It's just how you if you do it in a demeaning way, that it can change any word into anything.
Right.
Because if that's what that word means, call me a peasant all day long. You know?
Exactly.
Except if you drop me in the woods, I'm the first that's gonna croak because I won't know what to eat. I'm gonna die.
I'm glad you mentioned that because our friend at Quarantine Kitchen is going to be doing a show about foraging in the forest.
Yes,
foraging for mushrooms. So check out, if you're not part of the group already, join Quarantine Kitchen and learn how to forage in the forest of Maine for mushrooms. I love mushrooms. I want to grow mushrooms like on a log type thing.
Yeah.
They do these and you have like special mushrooms. There's mushrooms that taste like shrimp.
shrimp tasting mushrooms.
Yeah, and it's like highly prized, really expensive.
I wonder what type of nutrients could mushrooms sustain you for a while.
I don't know. That is a good question.
I always thought mushrooms were just kind of like a lot of texture and not a lot of nutrients. But I could be wrong.
I know that there's some people that is not the case. That they actually
there's some kind of nutrient. What is that? Selenium. I think selenium, something that might be in some mushrooms.
Well, thanks, Dave, for joining us. Dave Rollins, Winterhouse Gaming.
Winterhouse Gaming, yo!
All right.
Game it up.
And
I haven't gamed in so long. Like back in the day, really dating myself. Duke Nukem 3D. If you remember that game from the 90s. Was it Doom? All the Dooms, Quake 2, Quake 3. I made Quake 2 maps back in the day. I used to be such a nerd.
I'm totally lost, man. That's too nerdy for me.
Oh, it was awesome. First person shooters, deathmatch stuff.
Yeah, no, that's when I stopped saying talk nerdy to me.
Yeah, but now I'm lost. Like all the new games.
You know what that comes from, right? Talk nerdy to me. It's a parody.
Yes,
it's a parody to the song "Talk Dirty to Me."
I do. I just wasn't going to acknowledge it. Where your mind was going.
So talking about farming, growing vegetables and stuff like that. This year, the Common Ground Fair. You know about that Common Ground Fair? They're going virtual.
Ooh.
So Unity, Maine usually holds like one of the largest agricultural type fairs in the state, and this year they're going to go virtual. I know that in previous years I actually did some photography for oh my goodness, the Belfast Moosehead Lake rail company, and they provide rail transportation to the Common Ground Fair as well. It helps lessen the traffic and stuff like that, clogging up right there. and parking is always an issue. So people will park at a different destination, and the Belfast and Moosehead Rail will actually transport people old-fashioned style.
That's
rails.
cool. I actually like trains quite a bit.
So I got to go on and photograph people on it. I photographed the trains themselves. It was a fun time, but I did not make it to the fair. And I was hoping to make it to the fair.
Spend too much time messing around with trains.
Too much time
photographing trains.
Photographing trains, yeah. So so this year they're going virtual. I don't know exactly how they're doing it. This year it will take place online September 25th through the 27th. They are still looking for ideas and volunteers to help pull off this endeavor.
Yeah, because I'm assuming it's a bunch of vendors, right? Showcasing what they have to provide.
It's some amazing stuff there.
So everyone would have to go virtual, and then they would have to put them together.
Right. So if you want to be involved or volunteer, go to volunteer@mofga.org. Email them.
I know what they can do, and I'm sure somebody's already thought of this, but if they created a site that it was menu driven or like a picture where you could tour it virtually.
Oh, virtual tour.
And then as you clicked on each vendor, then their live stream would pop up.
Oh my goodness, that's a great idea. So if you want to share
details, that would probably be pretty easy to pull off because you're just linking to different live streams from all the different vendors. And you could put like a photo on the front page that people could click on and choose a vendor to check out, and then they could interact with that vendor live.
That would be cool. That would be really cool because everyone's doing these virtual tours of like museums and even vacations. They're doing virtual tours of that. So it's cool to see.
I don't need a virtual tour of a vacation.
No, I want to take a real vacation.
Real vacation.
I know. Everybody needs a little time away. Sorry. I got to break off in songs here. So that was
Peter Cetera, right?
I think so. Yes.
Yes. It was Peter Cetera, Chicago 17.
Yes. So that was the local events of at Channel 5. That was from Channel 5, by the way. And downtown is doing the Adopt a program. This is downtown Bangor is doing a Adopt a Garden program. And they're accepting new adoptions. And just to let you know, talking about gardens in the city as well, the city of Brewer has a Brewer Community Garden. It's on Maple Street. There's a big track that goes around like a baseball diamond and stuff like that. But there used to be I think a flat top, looks like a parking lot before they built anything on it. I was there to help cover the development of the Maple Street Community Garden Brewer, and it used to be I think a skateboard park. They converted it into a Brewer Community Garden, so if you want to plant a garden, I think they're taking people there too, and it's really reasonable. I think Food and Medicine is heading that, so go ahead and check them out. And I think they have a Facebook fan page too, so that's Maple Street Community Garden, right in Brewer. If you want to plant things but you don't have a yard, or you live in an apartment building and you don't have permission to use the land, check that out. That's a good option to plant. And I know that people grew some really awesome things there. It was always overflowing with vegetables.
And nobody had issue with like people just taking their stuff?
Well, it's locked up at night, so it's fenced in and locked up overnight and stuff. And it opens up.
And then they just kind of make a section for you, and you tend that section.
You tend your own box. Everyone. I think everyone.
You got like some box.
Everyone, they're raised beds.
Gotcha.
And they're about 2 to 3 feet tall, raised beds, and they tend it. I know that our church had volunteers. All the youth from the church came in. They built all the boxes. They helped build the fencing and stuff like that. They built the boxes, I think, in like an hour or two. They had 70 kids help build that.
Yeah, you could probably crank those things out.
It was amazing to see and to cover. It was a fun time, and the project was sponsored by CNL Aviation Group, right in Bangor. But that was cool, and other businesses helped donate too.
Yep.
But they were one of the big sponsors.
Very nice.
So if you want to do some gardening and you don't have your own land, or if you live in an apartment building, you don't have permission to use the land that you're living at for gardening, that's another option.
Sweet.
And I know that they crop shared too, because they would always grow more than they need. Sometimes they're like, oh, and then they're like, what do we do with this now? So
exchange.
They do
crops.
exchange crops, crop exchange, but they also teach you how to plant, to jar your foods, and also how to dry, preserve, and all that stuff. And I think they even share recipes on what to do with the food once it's planted. So check it out. That's Food and Medicine, and the fan page is Maple Street Community Garden in Brewer.
Yeah, I gotta learn how to pickle stuff.
You like pickles?
Pickle different things.
Well, isn't pickle juice good for you?
Pickle juice is supposed to be good for you. Yes.
Yeah, because I know that marathon runners and triathletes will sometimes drink it before they race.
Yeah. Yes.
I just like the taste.
I mean, vinegar and sugar or salt and something. I'm not sure what the
My
recipe
mouth is watering already.
Just sounds so good. And then there was a book. I remember a book way back when I was a kid called Freckle Juice.
Oh, it's a book.
It's a book,
Okay.
and I think it was based on pickle juice that you rubbed on your freckles to get rid of them. But look that up, Freckle Juice. I'm probably totally wrong, but I remember having to read that book for school.
That's cool.
And I have an investment tip, a random investment tip.
Ooh, yeah.
While we're going at this, I think I'm making a prediction based on the current trends in entertainment. So, as we all know, movie theaters are probably, sadly, not going to be doing too well after this.
I think the box office did, I think not this past weekend, but the weekend before, the box office brought in $15,000.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
Because only like less than a handful of theaters were open.
Yep. I'm telling you right now, because people still like to go out.
Mm-hmm.
Invest in a drive-in. We get a drive-in right on Route 2. They're going to be cranking soon because, like, I just read an article today on PBS about Iran. In Iran, they opened up a drive-in that they hadn't seen since 1979, and that's a thing now again. So I think it's just going to get big. I know we have one. Is it considered Bangor right there on Route 2, Outer Hammond Street?
I think it's technically in Herman, but that is owned by Bangor Mall Cinemas 10.
Is it really?
It is.
Well, that might be their saving grace because they'll be able to shift their attention to that because it might take a year to 2 years for people to even want to go into a room with other people to watch a movie.
That is completely true. So I think drive-ins are going to make their way back.
I think it'll be cool, like a nostalgic thing, just to get out, be in your car.
Well, just like you said, for necessity.
Yeah.
Hey, Doug, he's joining us. Doug Smith.
Doug Smith.
He was also an officer for Bangor PD.
Oh, sweet.
And Michelle just wanted to mention, Michelle Daniels is a Brewer City counselor. And she said that what they grow at the Brewer Community Garden, Maple Street Community Garden, they also donate to food pantries.
Ooh.
So it's not just for themselves personally.
Okay.
When they have a surplus, they donate to.
So, like the individuals that are tending their boxes will donate,
actually,
or is there a section?
There is a section. I think they have a couple or three that's dedicated, at least one. Dedicated to
completely
the food
to
pantry.
donation.
Yeah, everything that's grown in that box is sent to the food pantries.
Wouldn't it be cool if like everyone who tended a box also had to tend a box to donate? Like if they had a box side by side, and one was for donation. And
I think it's only like $25 to have your own box for the season.
They can lower that to $15, and then they donate the second box.
It is really reasonable. So it's really great.
Ideas.
So
ideas are flowing.
So Jen, who are planning to open May 15th? Is that the I think it's the garden she's talking about that they're planning to open.
The garden itself.
Yeah, May 15th.
Yeah.
So those that want to get involved and do something with their time, and people have time now, and you'll have something to take care of, instead of just planting your chia pet inside your house so you can plant food.
Those things are about useless.
You can plant food. You know they make chia pets now that will grow bean sprouts.
Well, bean sprouts. They need to have one that grows like cilantro out of it. Parsley.
I bet you can.
If they come up with that, then everybody would have chia pets all over their house.
Yeah, I think. Well, herb gardens are awesome. Like huge. I know. I use a lot of herbs when I cook, and sometimes some of the meals I cook are raw foods, where you don't cook anything. You just put ingredients together. But I love it. I have a mint garden out front that grows. Spearmint, peppermint, and chocolate mint.
Yeah,
and it's really, it grows like weeds. It's wild, and we have a good size strawberry garden. My daughter loves it, and most of the time she'll eat it before it even gets inside the house.
I would.
While she's playing outside, she would just eat it before. And I'm okay with that because it's being eaten.
That's right.
It's serving its purpose.
When I was a kid, I remember eating all the fruits that grew in the local area. When I was in Texas, this is one of my memories, is climbing up mango trees and eating mangoes right from the tree.
That's awesome.
We had coconuts in our area. Just whatever fruit was growing, I was like a little monkey kid going around and getting all those fruits.
See, in my vision of
I don't think I had to eat until I came home. I would eat in the morning, and then until I was forced to eat dinner, I didn't have to eat anything because I was just eating whatever was outside.
I did that at my house because we were so excited when we first moved into I think 108 4th Street in Bangor. That we had this yard that I was like, oh, private yard, we can play, we can set up obstacle courses and have a good time and stuff. My parents borrowed a rototiller from a friend of ours and turned our whole backyard into a garden.
All right, so that ended that.
I think we had a sliver of land, I think 30 by 15 that we can actually play on, and the rest of it was just food.
And of course, as a kid, you don't know the necessity of that or the desire to have that.
No, but I enjoyed it. I did exactly what you did. All day long, instead of going inside for food and snacks,
just eat whatever.
I was like, "Hey, this is already coming in. I'm gonna pick that."
Yeah. We even had in Florida. I remember these little orange fruits that would fall right from the tree to the sidewalk, and I cannot remember right now what they're called, but they sell them in grocery stores, and those used to be you'd kick them. There was so many on the sidewalk, you'd just kick them, and you could just eat those things constantly. Yeah, they were these little orange, citrusy looking things, thin skin.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just can't. I don't know the name, if anybody's got the name of those things, but they were so plentiful back then.
Right. So my daughter now goes out back. So her thing that she likes to pick when we have our garden is raspberries, strawberries, and cucumbers. She loves cucumbers. We also have 20 fruit trees growing around our house. We're in year 4. The couple that helped put this together, plant the trees for me, said it would be 3 to 5 years before you see fruit. We started seeing fruit last year 3, but nothing real edible yet. Maybe apples were, and the cherries came in, the peaches came in, but nothing real, edible yet. Yeah. So we're excited. Maybe this year we'll get some fruit that we can actually eat from the tree. Here's a funny thing. Not funny. It's kind of scary. One day I was working early in my office in the morning, and then I thought it was an earthquake or something, or trains coming in, because my office was shaking, and later found out they were hooves of a big deer. Sweet. A big buck. He was running right past my window in my office and went out to my backyard to eat whatever was sprouting out at the time.
Did you get a picture of this segment?
I did not. He came and went really fast.
Photographer?
He came
500 cameras in your room?
Yes, I did. I do have that. And he came right up from the brook, right into my yard, grabbed what he wanted, and off he went.
The antlers? Was it
Yeah. He had antlers and everything. And I'm like, what the heck was that? And I felt, and it was a good size because he shook my office. I was like, I could feel it rumbling. Like I turned on my subwoofers for my surround sound.
Should have just opened the door and jumped on that thing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Ride that sucker to the backyard.
So so gardening was a big deal. I mean, we always had a garden growing up. Always. My parents were farmers, so it was natural. My sisters all have green thumbs. My sister in California, Hakan, that's kind of her side hustle, is that she does some seed sharing, but she plants them and they grow kind of like a nursery.
Yep.
And she'll sell pots like curbside. She'll leave it out. People pay her, and off they go.
My family was not. They were completely westernized.
Mm-hmm.
Half my family is from Puerto Rico
Mm-hmm.
on my mother's side, and the other half is like Irish or something. So I'm like the mix of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like brought up on a completely processed food Western diet, and I'm jealous of people that, like, I'm envious that like you were able to grow up with like fresher foods.
Right. I mean, it wasn't until I became an adult that I ate a lot more processed foods. When I was younger, a lot of the foods were really mostly from the garden, which was nice. And my sister Bang just bought some property. Actually, she's bought it for a while. She just put I think a home on it, and she's been building up her garden. It looks terrific. So she has a floral garden area, food garden. She has lots of fruit trees that she's grown in Vermont. And so she's similar climate as us, but her garden looks like it's much. I'm always envious of people that can really grow things.
They have a green thumb.
Have a green thumb. So here's my goal: is to graft a tree that will produce multiple fruits on one tree.
They have that already, right?
Yes, they do. So that is a goal.
Multi-fruit trees.
Multi-fruit. So
how cool would that be?
I want to start off by having varieties of apples on one tree. So I have Golden Delicious, Macintosh, Red Delicious, and all that stuff on one tree.
I want a grapefruit / orange / lemon lime.
So can you guess what is the world record for number of varieties of fruit on one tree?
I couldn't even dream, because I didn't even know it was possible to get, like, you're talking about one branch has a fruit and then another branch has a different fruit.
Yes. What is the world record? I think this was on National Geographic.
See, I would guess, for me, in my little teeny mind, that it would be like, maybe they got 5 to 10, different fruits to grow on a tree of some wacky experiment they did.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know it was even possible to do.
So the world record is 42 different fruits on one tree.
I wouldn't even, like, what,
Isn't that crazy?
What are they even, like, is it like different varieties of the same thing?
No, it's different fruit.
Different fruit.
Different fruit.
That blows my mind.
I was blown too. So they have like pears, apples, peaches, all on one tree.
Pears and peaches.
And also,
those are pretty different.
And all sorts of other that I haven't mentioned. Hey, Tom Relly just stopped in to say hi. Says,
man,
hey, Subban Pantai looks like he lifts weights. He has biceps. My arms are pipe cleaners. Great job, gentlemen. And I'm like, I don't lift weights. It's just genetics.
And I lift weights, but my arms look like sticks.
But don't let his arms, like skinniness, fool you. This guy is a powerhouse when it comes to lifting. Compared to me, he could always lift double what I could lift. Every time. I feel like a weakling when I go to the gym with you.
I get skinnier as I get older. Like, my body just like, you don't need that. We don't need that. And it just, like, your mass just decreases.
Condensed.
As my testosterone levels drop.
Hi, Catherine. Hi, Adam. Hi, Jeremiah. Hey, Jeremy, we need to talk. I have a business proposition that I've already shared with you, but it's been...
business.
It's going to move on. So we're small business owners. So we're going to talk a little business here and there because...
You have to.
We have to, because that's kind of our livelihood. That's what keeps us going.
That's right.
So I was surprised we got stuck on this, not stuck, but we got on this farming thing longer than I expected. I like that.
It's good stuff because, I mean, that's our foundation of life, is we have to eat. Food, so we need food sources.
Food security is a big deal.
It is a huge deal.
To know that you're always going to have food in your cupboard. I know that members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has always encouraged its members to have food storage of multiple months, at least. I know that at any given time, our family would be fine 3 months without going shopping.
Yep, that's good.
So but the bad part about this is
storing
we have
Pain in the butt.
We have food stashed in weird places in the house. I was
like, you need a basement. You need like a cool basement.
Yeah, we have a cool basement. We just need to refinish. We need to finish it so that we can actually access it, and then we'll have plenty of pantry space. We could do like my dream of always having Blast from the Past. Have you seen the movie Blast from the Past?
I probably have. I just don't remember.
It's got one of your favorite characters in it. The one that you do the voice for. What's his name? Stephen Hawkins.
Stephen Hawkins is in it?
Yeah, he's in it.
The scientist.
Yes, he plays the father, and Brendan Fraser plays his son.
Oh, Brendan Fraser. I know Brendan.
Yeah, so...
Oh, wait, he's in a basement for 40 years, right?
Or like 30 years. So they're... So
are you talking about Christopher Walken?
Christopher Walken.
Not Stephen Hawking. I'm like, Stephen Hawking's played the dad?
Sorry.
Son, you know it's okay. Like, I could see him with a synthesizer. When you said Brendan Fraser, I was like, okay, yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's during the Cold War, and they
hunkered down
during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah, they hunkered down.
And what happens is, I think a test flight or something like that, pilot, and then there's things going on the radio which gives him the warning that hey, something big's coming up. So they're in the middle of this party. He chases all the people away, and he's getting his family to go into the fallout shelter.
Yes, they never leave, right?
Well, they can't leave because the plane, something happens to the pilot, and he passes out or whatever, and the plane crashes onto their property, and right there, the whole house, their property is gone because of this jet. Okay, and so he thinks it's the Cold War. He thinks it's the atomic bomb or whatever it is, the nuclear bomb.
Stay down there.
So they got to stay down there until the radiation has worn out. So they're down there. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that he made an exact replica of everything of his house upstairs underground. And it was amazing. I was just like, oh my goodness, you can definitely live here for 30 years.
Yeah, like if you have that much time to build stuff.
But I would, but you can see them breaking down, especially his wife, breaking down mentally. And I feel sometimes when we're going through this quarantine process during this virus, that I'm kind of like his wife. It's like, give me something to drink, And she's always trying to
You want to break out.
Yeah, she's always sneaking a drink, and she's she's like, can we go now? Can we go now? Can we leave now? And that was me, and I think that the irony is it's possible that people's reaction is overblown, and kind of like his character, it says, oh no, we have to stay here for 30 years.
Yep.
And in reality, something else hit, and it's not as disastrous than what really is. But that's my opinion.
It's a good movie.
That's my analogy.
Yeah.
No, it's a good movie, uplifting. It's you can definitely share most of it, if not all of it, with kids.
Yep.
So
I think Brendan Fraser was in mostly kids safe movies.
Yeah, Alicia Silverstone was in that. My favorite part of the movie is actually the dance scene in the nightclub, because it's my fantasy to be able to dance like that.
Just gonna do it. I try to dance and I forget the moves right after I learn them.
So, have you guys been practicing any of your dance moves while you're in quarantine?
No, because we're so caught up in everything else.
Yeah. You guys just need to turn on your stereo. I'll bring over your disco lights again.
And that's now that you brought that up again, because a lot of times we get caught up in the routine, the mundane, repetitive actions that we do every day, and somehow you got to break that.
Yeah.
Somehow you got to break out of that and remember.
Well, I think there's some plus and minuses to that, because I think the mundane routine of the daily stuff keeps us sane.
Well, being regimented could be good because it's structure.
Right.
But when it gets mundane to the point where your brain is bored and not being challenged, then that's a whole different story.
Right. Yeah. No. I agree with that. I agree challenging my brain and keeping it active. My wife does a good job at that, playing games that require some thought process. Puzzles. She does a lot of puzzles. She plays a lot of games on her tablet, but she on her iPad, whichever she does, and some of that does require some brain power, like words with friends, coming up with words and things like that. But what have you guys been doing to keep your brain active? I want to know that.
Yeah, definitely. Particular games, activities. Because I could be caught up in projects like for a whole week. Like I could do graphic projects and things like that.
Michelle says, "Leave my elevator alone." That's from Blast from the Past.
Oh.
And Jen says,
"Who said that? Was it Brendan Fraser or
no,
Christopher Walken?"
The guy that becomes a religious leader in the bar. That their elevator it has been built on top of their house. So they're where the
fallout
house
shelter is underground. Elevators built on top.
Yeah, because industry and stuff still happened while they were still underground,
built up around them.
So there's a whole like community of like cityscapes and businesses that built on top of them, and they happen to be right under the bar. So this drunk guy is kind of like becomes this really guru thing, and he leads a whole bunch of believers to their family and thinking that they're like.
To like unearth them?
Well, they're here like, why are we looking up there? And then it turns out that it's down there that the God is, It's funny. It's really funny. And then Jen says...
Christopher Walken is pretty funny.
Just drink warm Dr. Pepper.
Ugh.
So his favorite drink in the movie was warm Dr. Pepper. So his wife thought. And it turns out that he drank it because she made it, not because he liked it.
Yeah, he was appeasing her in some way. But by the way, I used to drink tons of Dr. Pepper when I was in my youth, which was horrible. Like, that was my favorite drink. Like 7-Eleven 64-ounce big gulp Dr. Pepper with a dozen chocolate-coated donuts was my lunch.
So the 7-Eleven thing, I would just go and...
Sends me into diabetes right now.
I would just push all the different buttons, get all the different flavors.
Mix them all up.
Mix it all up.
I used to do that with the ice shakes. What are those things called?
The slush puppies?
Slush puppies, yeah. Like you go in and you mix all the flavors of those things.
I always got a brain freeze. I could not leave the convenience store without a brain freeze. So I went to the 3rd Street Market when I was living on 4th Street, and we would get all our goodies there, and we'd have penny candies, which were a penny.
Mm-hmm. So, I remember those.
What do you do about the taxes? I guess there's no taxes on penny candy. So when I'd walk in with $1 bills, I'm like, yeah, I'm loaded with, I'm going to get loaded with 100 pieces.
100 candies.
I'm going to do 100 pieces of candy now.
Yep.
So
I remember those days. That was awesome.
$1 would buy penny candy, and then you hear your parents saying, oh yeah, for like a quarter I can go to the movies, get a drink, and
get popcorn. Take my date out, get gas for the car, pay the rent, all for that quarter. And I didn't even have to wear shoes when I did it.
Oh my goodness, that's right. So
speaking of that candy, have you seen a lot of the nostalgia candy sellers? They sell candies that are like from the past. Oh, that look like the candies that you bought as a kid.
Right. I've heard about it. I haven't gotten any yet.
There's a ton of those. I've seen them online.
Oh, they're online.
They're online. You can actually order those dots on a piece of paper.
Oh my goodness!
Remember those things? Like you peel that.
Too much work.
You always ate paper with it.
Too much work.
Yeah. And then you had the necklaces. We used to go around with the cigarettes that were gum. Yeah. And if you blew through them,
the powder
would come out.
Yeah.
That's how marketing of that era was for kids to get
start
involved
smoking
with cigarettes.
Yeah.
And the little bottles that looked like Coke bottles filled with some kind of syrupy liquid.
Oh,
it was a wax.
And you chew it. Oh my goodness.
And I remember these big rings, the ring pops.
Oh my goodness, they get you slobber all over them, and then your hands all sticky.
Yep. And the milk, what are they? Milk balls.
Milk duds.
No, what are those? They used to come in a milk-looking carton, and they were chocolate-coated malt balls.
Okay. Yeah.
And they used to sell those individually wrapped for a penny. Remember those? But there's all that old candy you can get online, if it was brand new.
That's awesome. And it's not a penny anymore. It's
No,
like
it's not a
probably
penny
like
anymore,
a quarter
but
each or something now.
It's just cool to see like all that nostalgic stuff.
Oh yeah. So some of the things that people have been doing to stay busy is my wife says sewing. She's been sewing masks now, like the cloth mask for people. So if you guys need a mask, hit me up. My wife can make some.
Yeah, you get the mask, and then if you
she's doing the strings, the drawstrings right now because
instead of the ear.
Well, the rubber bands and the rubber and stuff like that is running low because there's a high demand on it. High demand on that product because a lot more people are making the mask. Yeah. So she does have a shipment on its way in, but right now, if you want it immediately, she's making with drawstrings.
Incidentally, on a personal note, I hope that this isn't the new state of the United States of America.
I hope so too.
Because that's my vision. You know, nothing against China, but that's when I think of a mask.
Yeah.
I think of the first SARS outbreak, and then that's my vision of China and how they are. Mm-hmm. And I hope that view of America isn't the same. Like I don't want to have that as the norm, as everybody having a mask.
Right. I think eventually it will be just a memory, just like all the other
I hope so.
viruses that came by. So Michelle Daniel says that genealogy, she's been keeping herself with genealogy. So she's a genealogist. She also does what do you call it? DNA type genealogy. So it's almost
like ancestry.
Yeah.
Like looking back at the genes to find out who you're related to.
Right. And she does her service for free. She doesn't charge me.
Have you had your genetic profile done?
I have not.
Would you do it?
Yes.
You would?
Yes. So she has some interesting stories about some of what she's digging into. She says sometimes that when she's doing these genealogy research, people, some of them want to know who their real parents are and some of them don't. And then sometimes I think the biggest thing that she gets a bad reaction from is to find out that they don't belong to a certain family.
Oh yeah, like the negatory.
Right.
You are not part of that family. You already thought.
But I think it's interesting, anyways, just to hear the stories of who you came from, what their lives were like, what they did for a living. Yep. You know, what were they well known for? What their abilities were, or sometimes. Because everyone has something to contribute to society, and you kind of like want to know where your ancestors are. Yeah. I know in the church it's a big deal. I hit a roadblock because a lot of my wife has had her genealogy done. She's actually her great aunt has done most of her genealogy for her father's side of the family, I believe, and it goes way back to kings and queens in England and stuff like that. But for me, my genealogy was not written down, so it was a lot of verbal and stuff like that, so it was really hard to trace back. So the genetics, the DNA genealogy that Michelle does can probably help that also.
Nice.
Also, just want to let you know, something else my wife is doing for the community is she is, the sewing stuff, that's kind of like her side hustle. She actually sells stuff like that. But our friends at the Salvation Army in Bangor, James Moore has expressed concerns that there's less donations going on right now because people they don't have jobs. They're not really giving out as much as they usually do. But they're slow on they're getting, but and in the same time they're getting like a huge more influx of people needing food or snacks from them. So right now my wife has a goal to fill our van with snacks to donate to,
because everybody's in hoard mode.
Right.
Hoard things, get the supplies up.
So she's about 1/3 full of our minivan with snacks to drop off at the Bangor Salvation Army, and she's making the drop off on Friday. So if you want to know how you can get involved, you can contact me. You can contact James Moore directly at the Salvation Army as well, because she's just trying to get as much done as she can for to supply for a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's well on her way, more than she thought. So we thought it was 1/3, but it's closer to a half. Once she kind of figured out all the serving sizes of each of the snacks, she says, "Okay, I'm more than half at this time."
Pause for 1 second.
Sure.
I'm gonna check.
Genealogy, the spit test, the swab test, whatever it is, for genealogy to see where you're from and who your ancestors are. I think that's what Jeff is talking about there. And he says, "Way to go, Jen."
That's right.
So we need to be involved as much as we can in our community. We live here. We love. I'm sorry about
the sunglasses.
The sunglasses and the hat. I'm sorry, guys.
Just look at my feed.
Yeah. Well,
and it'll be later. It'll be on YouTube later.
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube later without the. I don't know how that happened.
There'll be one small glitch where he was talking, and I just had to turn the camera off and back on to get it to record the next amount of time.
Right.
Because some of the DSLRs that are sold now, they only record for a certain amount of time, and then they stop. You got to start them again.
So I know this shutdown has really helped, really hurt more than just the small business owners, right? It's hurting nonprofits.
Yeah.
Nonprofits that are fundraising for, like I said, the Heart Association, the United Way, everything has been hit.
Yep. I donated blood just a little while ago.
That's awesome.
Over at Jeff's Catering, they were doing the blood donations.
Oh.
American Red Cross.
When did that happen?
Oh, that was like 3 months ago. No, 2 months.
Okay.
It was like the first month of the COVID thing, and then they were being really cautious.
Right.
Masks on, sterilizing everything. But they wanted to try to get their blood inventory up.
Right. So everyone is suffering, not just from the business owner aspect of it, but for people that are in nonprofits, for donations that need to be still made, and sometimes even greater. Like I know that food pantries are low, so if you can give to the local food pantry or the Good Shepherd Food Bank, please do so. I know that people are receiving extra benefits. If you're receiving extra benefits, that you're good, you're all set. Don't hurt your family by giving. Make sure you have plenty for yourself first, and then give.
Give the extra.
Give the extra. Because I'm not condoning giving more than you have, because that would be putting you in that same
and then
place.
You'll be at the food pantry trying to get something.
So make sure you're taking care of your needs first before you go out and help others. I think sometimes people forget that.
Yeah.
That they're so giving that they forget about themselves.
Well, yeah, your foundation has to be good. I mean, it doesn't always have to be this case, but if you're good with your foundation, mentally, physically, your food level is up, then you're in a better position to help others.
Right.
So if you can get yourself, and this is just personal, my opinion, if you can get yourself in order, you're better suited to get other people help or give opportunity.
Right. It's you can't throw someone a life raft when you're drowning yourself.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that I look at it a little differently. I know a lot of people are very passionate, and they'll give you everything that they
the
have,
shirt off their back,
which is awesome, and my hat's off to those people. But to sustain that, you run out of your own resources, and then you can't help anybody else.
Right.
So I say get yourself in order, and then you're in a really good position.
I'm in the same boat with you. I believe in the same thing. I give absolutely anytime I'm able to, sometimes to the detriment of my own family.
I mean, I think we all do it to a certain degree, but to sustain that help, I mean, then you feel stressed and strained yourself.
Right. So I have to learn from that. I can give more to the community if I take care of my family first. It's how I'm gonna have to see things in the future, because it's so easy for me to say yes. I'm a yes man. I rarely say no. If you ask me to do something, to be part of something, I'm rarely going to say no, and I think the community knows that already. That's why I get asked to do so many things.
Yeah.
And I just don't say no.
Sometimes you have to say no.
Sometimes I have to say no, but it's hard for me to say no because there's so many good causes out there, and if there's an ounce of something I can give, I will give it.
There you go.
So
shout out to Derek, who just joined us. He says, "What are today's topics?" You're late. You're late. That's what today's topics are.
So we talked about, we talked about farming, gardening, stuff like that. You can check out the YouTube video.
Dinosaur-sized hornets that are going around. And I actually have another thing that is bordering around the subject of the coronavirus and what's happening in today's society. Mm-hmm. The contact tracing apps that are coming out. What do you think of that? Would you be willing to have an app on your phone that notifies other people of your presence and whether or not you are infected?
First of all, I would say no. If I'm infected, guess what? I'm gonna stay in quarantine.
Yeah. The idea is that maybe somebody wouldn't know they're infected, if they did, then
if the app can tell me I'm infected, I would like to know if I'm infected.
Let me rephrase that. That didn't make any sense.
All right.
So some people may not care, so they don't have any symptoms, and they're like, I'm just gonna go out anyway. So. Or they're just doing their thing, trying to stay away from everybody, and this app tells you, oh, they're 6 feet away, they're 10 feet away, they're 20 feet away.
No, I can't even. I can't even stand this car rental that I have. Right? It tells me when a car is to my side or to my back. I'm like, dude, I can see that they're right there. Why are you beeping at me?
I just want to tell you this, and you already know.
I already know that they're like right there. Stop beeping at me, okay?
So these apps would collect your location data.
No, I don't think so.
And they use Bluetooth the theory is that they're going to use the Bluetooth built into your phone to signal other phones.
I know it's already happening. We're already being traced by our phones.
GPS, every phone's got a GPS in it.
We're already being traced, but I just hate that feeling of... But I guess I have to get rid of every electronic device to truly be untraceable.
Today is the world of data collection. Data mining is today's world.
So personally, I would not want, but it's just a feeling. It's a false feeling that I'm not already being traced, but I am already being.
Yeah, because you think you're not. But every Wi-Fi you're on,
right?
Every bit of location data that you can get. Which, by the way, at the end of the show, I'm going to show everybody how to disable some of the privacy things that are in Windows 10 that track you and try to advertise to you. Because ever since Microsoft went from Windows 7 to Windows 10, they've added a bunch of advertisement marketing features. Like you have an ID now that signifies it's you, and they can market directly to you, track your location data. So I'm going to show you guys how to turn that off towards the end.
All right, cool. Well, I think we're going to be close to the end anyways.
Well, the contact tracing apps I wanted to touch on, and also...
Oh, before you go on, though, after chatting with you just now about that, knowing that I'm already being traced, I don't think it matters now. So if they want that app on me to trace if I'm 6 feet away from someone else, I don't care now. My fear, because they're already tracing me.
Well, my fear is always I always look at things and I go, what's the harshest psycho scenario that could come out of this?
Right.
So I'm thinking psycho person is going around trying to figure out who's got this. And then they're going to start trying to do something to that person. So that's one of the reasons I'm against these type of things.
That's true.
Because I go to the extremes. I'm like, oh, this is so great. It's going to allow people to, oh, there's a person there. Let me go about a couple more feet around them.
Right, but what type of their personal civil liberties are going to be violated?
Yeah, so this leads to discrimination.
Right.
As soon as you start labeling people, whether it's digitally,
that's true,
or with a tag that goes on their shirt or jacket, you're starting to discriminate.
Yeah,
because you're labeling that person, you're identifying
that's them. Physically labeling it too.
Yeah. So there's history that shows that labeling is not good.
No.
That labeling occurred in the past. And I'm not even going to bring up the subject. I think everybody knows that subject. But yeah, as soon as you digitally label people with that, and I mean, who's to say that they're not going to be ostracized?
Right.
Treated like lepers.
Well, I think that it's almost human nature for someone to be like, oh, I mean, we know it's already prevalent in our society that if you're associated with certain groups of people that are known to cause trouble, people are going to try to avoid you.
Well, yeah.
Or paint you in a bad light.
Of course.
So when you give people another excuse to kind of separate this person from society, people are going to react to it.
Yeah. But I also understand that a virus is different.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the health of the community. Mm-hmm. But we've got to somehow get it to the point where we're not discriminating.
Right.
How do we
have healthy communities without
the discrimination, right. Without the dividing lines that are occurring right now? Because you see it. You know, this is one of the reasons you can't watch the news, and you got to kind of stay off Facebook somewhat.
Right.
Because you see the lines dividing over the issue of mask, no mask, stay home, open your business. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, geez, don't we already have Republicans and Democrats, left and right?
Right. So, yeah, because now we have people within that
Ford
party.
versus Chevy.
So now we have people within that party fighting each other.
Yeah, exactly.
About these open or close, or, mask, no mask that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's not just...
I don't think we need another dividing line.
We don't
need another dividing line.
We don't need more reasons to be divisive. We need more things to bring us together.
No.
And I'm going to bring this up again. It's like the only way to do this is to talk to your friends and neighbor. If some of the things that they post or say or think or have expressed on social media don't make sense to you, don't make an assumption about how they're feeling about things, because they might express something, but only one thing from that really matters to them. So you need to talk to your friends and family to make sure that if you have a good enough relationship with them, you should be able to talk to them about anything.
Yeah, just because they post one photo on Facebook,
or an article.
Yeah.
So just
chat with them.
Chat with them. They go to the same community events as you. They have kids in the same sports. They volunteer with the same things that you volunteer for. Talk, converse with them. They're real people. Don't make them out to be demons just because of one post.
Yeah. I don't like that idea of like the cult mind being the same with every individual in the cult. Like everybody thinks the same. You want differences in your group because that keeps the group alive. The different ideas, in that group. That's why the United States is so great.
I love diversity when it comes. I think true diversity is also accepting diverse ideas and opinions.
Yeah, you have to be open.
Yeah.
It's just like the United States and how we have the Republicans and the Democrats, the liberals and the conservatives. Like we talk about this all the time, right? If everyone in the United States was a conservative, the United States would probably shut its doors to the whole world, and we would like regress as some kind of culture. And then if everyone was a liberal, we would get taken over.
Yeah.
We would instantly get taken over by Canada.
We would have like no borders, no rules against immigration.
Yeah. So you need those diverse ideas, and you need that balance, that yin yang.
That yin and yang.
Yeah, you need that in the United States. So it's always good to have friends that have different ideas.
And I always tell people, I think I posted that a few days ago. It's like I may have diverse opinions from you, but I will still do anything for you. You can call me and message me anytime of the day and night, and I am more than happy to help you. I don't care what your politics is, and I've demonstrated that throughout the years already. And then also, it really doesn't matter what party you belong to. I mean, everybody
cares,
and you don't have to agree with everyone with everything. Heck, I lived more than half my life with a woman that I agree with half the time, and I still love her and will do anything for her.
You can't agree with everybody.
Right.
Even your closest friends are going to have different opinions.
I know. We have disagreements all the time.
We're so different.
Yeah.
But it just works.
Well, and it's about showing that love and respect for each other regardless of your differences. And by not calling each other names. I mean, how wonderful would things go if your wife did something that you disagree with, or your husband, and you call him a name for doing it? How well does that go? It's still a relationship, right? So that same relationship applies when you talk to people that in your sphere, social media, virtual or real.
And I think a lot of people, like even family members, are taken for granted because you get to know them so well that
you know their weakness too.
Well, yeah, you know their weakness, how to push their buttons, but you start taking people for granted. I'm guilty of this. That you know them so well, they're there all the time, so they're taken for granted.
Yeah.
And what I do is I try to remind myself that I have a privilege of being with this person. It's a privilege to interact with this person, and you have to work on that. You have to remind yourself.
That's hard. Yeah.
It's very hard because it's just so and so.
Right. That's just the way they are.
They're just doing their thing. Yeah, they're just doing their thing.
It's just the way they are. I don't prescribe to that.
Yeah. It's hard. You gotta really slap yourself and be like, wake up, appreciate this person. Enough of that. But I always get off on that because that's so important to the foundation of just getting along and as a human being.
Right. So Karen Clark just chimed in. She says that's why school boards and city councilors are picked by the public so they can get diverse opinions.
You need it. I think you need diverse opinions.
And my wife thanked me for the shout out.
Right.
And remember, this is Mother's Day week. So go out there, make sure you make plans to do things nice, do something kind, or get something great for your favorite mom in your life.
Yeah.
Whether it's your mom or your wife, or someone that's that has a kid that's a mom. Go out there and get them something cool. And I know that there's some deals that are happening right now. If you look enough, people are selling some cool stuff, and that will help you show your appreciation. And I know the florists are still open.
Or make them something.
Or make them something.
Or just, if you're an adult, sometimes it's just a matter of showing up.
Yeah.
Just knowing that you cared enough to, not that this is a commercial or anything.
Yeah.
But as you grow older, you learn that some people don't want a cheap gift from Walmart or some other place. Right. They just want you there. And that's just a lesson you learn over time.
Or it's just an act of kindness, or just taking them on a drive.
Some money.
Breakfast.
Give them some money.
Breakfast in bed. If you're not already used to doing lots of breakfast in bed, do something kind to the mothers out there for them. I know that my wife, like I said, I do a regular Mother's Day shoot with my wife and daughter together, and her mother too. So I do the 3-generation photo every Mother's Day, and I usually wait until like the week after because more is in bloom.
Yeah.
So a week from this weekend, things should be in pretty good bloom.
Speaking of Mother's Day, cool gifts.
Yes.
I have my today's cool gadget.
Okay. Tell me about it.
I'm gonna actually, I got two. Okay. So you have these double wall water bottles that we all like to carry around.
Yeah.
Where you put your water, you take it to the gym, which you can't do right now. So you take it to your own house, you work out at home.
Yeah.
But the double wall, like this one, like by Hydro Flask and Yeti makes them, and so there's a company called Lark, LARQ, that is making UV lights in their caps.
Okay.
So there's a UV light that points right down into the water and sterilizes the water.
Nice.
So it takes about 60 seconds to completely kill 99.99% of bacteria and viruses in the water.
Awesome.
They actually claim 99.9999 of bacteria and 99.99 of viruses.
And where do you get something like that?
You can buy these, online, straight up on Amazon. They're kind of pricey because they give you the bottle and the cap, and they're like between $100 and $120 for the 17 or 24 ounce bottles. And then there's another company called Crazy Cap that they just make the caps.
Oh, cool.
So they make a cap. It's $70, $69 is what they're selling it for. And it goes on those Coke bottle style double wall thermal bottles. Not like these wide mouth ones.
Okay.
So the wide mouth one you got to get through this Lark place.
Right.
But the Crazy Cap sells the ones that go on the.
Which one would you prefer?
I would prefer if Hydro Flask and Yeti got off their butts and made their own cap that had a UV filter, like to shine down in there, because this has been my new choice for water curing because of this right here.
What's the big deal with that?
You put it on your pack when you're hiking. You clip it into something.
Can I feel that?
Yeah. With the other bottles, you got to put them in a pocket.
Ah, yeah.
So these, you have your straps on your pack.
Yes, on my pack. It's like yours.
Yes, and you just clip it, so, or you can clip it on the side, clip it on your belt loop. So this is the way to go. So these companies, Hydro Flask and Yeti, need to get off their butts and get on the gravy train of that UV killing bacteria in the water. So I'm gonna actually get one of those bottles and try it.
Ooh.
Remember, Crazy Caps was like $69. It's rechargeable, recharges with USB. You put it on top of the bottle, and you're good to go.
Awesome.
That's Crazy Caps. Look it up. And Hydro Flask and Yeti, you need to get on the ball and make that.
Anything besides? You got some pop culture stuff you want to?
I did.
Okay, cool.
So I was leaning. So we were talking about the contact trace apps earlier, which obviously utilize your cell phone.
Yeah.
So that leads me into the technology that we saw as kids in science fiction.
Right, the translator and stuff.
Not the universal translator that I talked about in the last episode, where the earbuds, the cool gadget of the last show was the earbuds that you could put in your ear and they translate up to 40 languages, like real time, that's cool. So in the Star Trek universe, and he's Star Wars, remember that? Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Hey, I
can't believe you're Star Wars.
I like Star Trek as well, but Star Wars was one of the first movies I saw in the theaters. So.
Well, even in Star Wars, like the science fiction shows you people using these high-tech tools to look things up, to access information. And then what they do is they use the tool to get the information, and then they put it down. They put it away, or they walk away from it, and then it's all interaction. They're not. And then today, everybody is like with their cell phone in their hand. And I was going to ask you the question, did you ever think, when seeing those science fiction things, that the tech that we created today would be so addictive? Because you don't see it in the sci-fi. No. They use it, they're like, let me calculate this.
It's a tool.
Boom, and then they put it down, and then
it's definitely a tool in the movies. It's like a tool.
In the movies and in the TV series that are sci-fi.
Right. But in real life, it's like almost an attachment to our
body.
It is.
It's like a part of you.
A part of you, yeah. Like
your extended memory.
Like even I say sometimes, I wish I had a shutter button for my eyes. When I see something, boom.
You see it so cool.
Right. Shutter goes off, and the settings are perfect, and it sees exactly what my eyes see.
Yeah.
Exposure, depth of field, the HDR, everything.
But the thing that kills me about that, and I've thought about that too, is that your brain can focus in on any part of that image.
Right.
So how do you capture what your brain is seeing?
So what it would have to do, this device would have to do, in my opinion, is in that one image, it actually takes like 100 photos.
So you could choose the depth of field and all that.
And it chooses all the different ranges of depths. And then you pick whatever it is that you want to focus on, and from those 100 pictures, boom, that's the picture that you want to use.
That'd be cool. But I don't know if I'd want anything like that in my head.
But did you see Lytro? They came out with a camera.
I think you sent me a link to that.
Right. Lytro is a camera. It looks like a tube. It has disappeared. I don't know if he lost funding for it or something like that. But a gentleman invented a camera I think in California. And it looked like a square tube thing. You push a button. There's no preview screen or anything like that. But you can choose your focus point after the fact. It just records.
Oh, it was a 3D image then?
It records light.
3D image.
It records light.
Yeah.
And then once it's loaded onto your computer, you choose what you want to be in focus, and that will be your focus point.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really cool technology, but I haven't heard anything about it since.
Yeah, nowadays we can do like a focus stack, and then just pick one of the stills from that focus stack,
right?
And just that's what I wanted to do.
Right, but imagine this technology being able to take one photo instantly, and then have 100 photos to choose from of all the different focus. I mean, you can probably start off with like 5 images or 3 images, and then expand it from there in that one frame that you take, and then boom, you get to choose your focal point.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
That would be cool. So going back to that, do you think that you would ever have dreamt that technology would be so addictive?
Yes.
You think you had even conceived of that back when you saw some of the sci-fi?
I remember when my family first got an Atari system, and we were up all hours of the night playing.
That's true.
So I saw that.
I remember in television, the console, and I played the crap out of that.
Right.
In Atari, yeah, the Atari 2600.
Yeah, the Atari 2600 was the first game system that my family owned, and we played that Pac-Man, Combat, and something else. It was a combination, Combat and it was it was like a war game, and then they have of course Pac-Man on there. But we played for hours. So I saw how addicting it was, and I knew that somehow. I mean, every time a technological device comes out that hits big in the market, it becomes part of us. It controls us in a way.
Not as much as the ubiquitous cell phone now.
Right.
Like that to me is
that is definitely I think the pinnacle of addiction when it comes to electronic device.
And I know so because I carry mine everywhere, and I'm constantly looking at it. Constantly looking up information. What's the weather? What's the time? What messages do I have? Where's my email? Let me get on YouTube.
Right.
See how many views I got. Oh, wait, let me look at this cat video. Or, this guy singing this song.
This new gadget I need to check out because it's supposed to do to be the gadget of my dreams.
What's the new DSLR camera coming out?
Right. This awesome lens that's going to do 18 millimeters to 500, 1.9 or 1.8. It's like,
I think it would be like this big.
Yeah, it would be. At the end of it would be like this wide.
Yeah, because it's just that in the sci-fi, I always pictured everybody like, yeah, that would be cool to have that tool.
And then put it away.
But then you put it down.
Then they put it down. It's not even on their body.
It's not even on their body.
Yeah, they put it somewhere else.
Yeah, like in any of this old sci-fi, people should look back at the old sci-fi. No one is carrying like Star Trek digital tricorder. Yeah, they had him in a pack. The doctor character would
right.
But like nobody had that stuff strapped on them. There wasn't somebody in the hallway of the ship like, let me check my phone.
Right, yeah.
But
yep.
There weren't even any screens on most of the stuff in the old. It was just buttons.
Right, it was.
Just buttons.
And then they just get the information somehow from pushing the buttons. And maybe just all automatically transfer that information to their brains.
Yeah.
That's why no one has to carry anything.
But it didn't even matter back then because your imagination was like, I don't care how they got that information.
Right.
I don't care that they're not even looking at a screen. That it's just a bunch of buttons, toggle switches from Radio Shack.
I think sci-fi opens up people's imagination to invent things for sure. I mean, so much has come about because people grew up watching sci-fi.
Heck yeah, that made me want to imagine more than what is actually
present.
Yeah. It makes me dream big.
Right. So sci-fi is good for that.
Like I think we should have anti-gravity by now. We need to be on that. Anti-gravity.
Oh, being able to fly without jet propulsion.
I think that's going to be our next level of evolution is anti-gravity. If we can figure out what exactly the force of gravity is, I know it's bending space and things are falling. Like that's the current theory is that you're always falling, and the Earth's surface is just stopping you from falling. But what actually can we do to overcome that? Like, how do we oppose gravity?
So when you were talking about that, I just thought of something.
You just zoned out.
I
don't know what.
I was like
tacos from Las Palapas.
Tacos from Las Palapas.
I'm putting like a balloon up tacos from Las Palapas.
Oh shoot! I just knocked that.
What have you done?
I just knocked that over. What was I thinking? Tacos from Las Palapas.
You just fell asleep when I was giving like a heartfelt speech on something.
Yeah, so heartfelt you don't remember what it was that we were talking about.
Rewind it and find out.
So my thought and idea was that came to my mind when I spaced out was that what actually
you don't even know what you want to say.
Are we actually traveling when we fly from one time zone to another? Are we?
That's an interesting theory.
Is it considered time travel?
When you get further away from the Earth's surface, supposedly time is different.
Right.
Or when you travel faster, time slows down.
Right.
The faster you travel.
So when you fly from here to California, and you gain a few hours.
I wouldn't consider that time travel.
No.
That's time zones.
Yeah.
To me, I think they should do away with time zones. Time zones should disappear, and it should be a 24-hour or whatever clock, and it is what it is wherever you are. It's 5 o'clock all around the world. You know, it just happens to be dark in Asia when it's light in the United States. Who cares? Get rid of the time zone. I hate time zones.
So why do you hate time zones so bad?
Because it's dumb. In my mind, it's just dumb. Like, why is there a 3-hour difference? Every time should be the same all over the Earth. We're not.
Yeah, this time period is this time period. So if there was a big explosion somewhere on Earth, it's happening at the same time.
Yes, we gotta what time zone are they in? We gotta calculate what time.
Volcano erupts at a certain time. It happens at this time.
Yeah.
But it only happens in this spot on the Earth, so it's only on that.
I know the idea is to take advantage of the sun. You know, where the sun is casting over the geography of the planet at that moment in time. But really, it's like, I don't care if we gotta pretend it's noon in California and then 3 hours later somewhere else.
Oh, Karen had something to say about growing up. She grew up on Star Trek and Lost in Space.
Yeah, Lost in Space.
I love Lost in Space too.
Yep.
So she says, I'm old. Yeah, well, I grew up watching Star Trek and Lost in Space as well, so I guess I'm old.
I'll tell you how old I am. Remember Flash Gordon? Flash Gordon!
Nope.
And he flew around on this pad.
I didn't arrive in America until 1980. So I didn't have any TV until then. So
I was born in the USA. I was born in the Flash Gordon, baby.
Yeah. So she also says she played the original Pong and she had a Sega system.
I remember the original Pong.
I had the Sega system.
I did not have the Sega system. I had Intellivision, and my friend had Atari.
Okay.
It's like we couldn't afford it.
Intellivision?
Intellivision is what it was called.
Okay.
It was a knockoff of the other consoles that were out.
Okay. So Jeff Banman says our area doesn't ever change time. So he's talking about daylight savings. You're talking about time zones.
I'm talking about time zones when you go from like the Eastern Standard Time Zone to the Central to
Mountain,
you know, like
Pacific. Yeah.
If I fly from Maine to California, don't give me crap about it. It's a 3-hour difference in time. I don't really care. It's the same freaking time. You know, that's what I want to know.
I just thought it felt cooler to be like,
it's earlier.
No. It's just like, I just time traveled.
I mean, if you want to think of it that way.
It's just me, though.
I just would like to see time zones go away.
Yeah. My wife, one of the shows my wife likes to watch when she was growing up was Greatest American Hero.
Yes, I used to watch that. So it was a comedy, right? The guy was a clumsy hero.
Yeah, but he did some,
believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Is that it?
Yes, that's it.
I can hear it in my head.
That was powers given to him by space aliens.
Yeah,
the UFO.
I can't remember.
UFO space. Yeah, in the opening credits or opening number, the space shuttle comes in, shines a light on him. He's in his little Volkswagen Beetle, and gives him the power.
Sweet.
And so that coming up to that, have you ever had a dream that you were flying?
Yes.
So, I've had dreams that I was flying, but it's always the way this guy flew. Never like Superman.
Oh, like he's.
I'm always out of control. How do I fly? You know, it's always like that. It's not. It's like, okay, I can get up. Oh my goodness, I'm falling down again. It's like all the time.
I would be uneasy about flying at first.
So in my dreams, it's always like that. It's never like, I am sure of myself. I can fly anywhere, anytime. I have full control.
I think dreams are like, I don't know, they play on your weaknesses.
So
I really draw from your fears and.
So believe it or not, I actually have a dream interpretation book.
Right.
So when you dream of flying, that it means like yourself flying and like in flight.
Trying to escape?
No, it's not.
Break free?
No.
It's not?
No, it means you are the peak of your how sure you are of yourself. So it's confidence.
Top level of confidence.
Yes, it is. So when you dream of you're flying, that's what the interpretation says.
How about falling?
Falling, I didn't get to that part.
But how about falling? Because I've had a dream where I'm falling as well. I had a dream once that I was fanning out money in my hand, and I woke up and my hand was in the air, like
really
fanning money, and I was like, I opened my eyes and I was so disappointed that my hand wasn't filled with money.
So, well, that comes to my other thought. I know we're like going all over the place here. It's like, what do you feel about you actually living a second life in another dimension when you're dreaming?
That's a cool idea. It's cool premise.
Because your body does not know the difference. Your mind does not know the difference.
It's interesting because every time I go to sleep, it's like somebody hits a switch and shuts me off, unless I dream and I'm aware of the dream. So I always liken sleep to you don't exist anymore. Like the conscious, that I am who I am, the I am, that gets shut off. And the subconscious takes over. But then there are times when you're dreaming and you're semi-lucid, or you kind of are aware of it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm still in existence.
Yeah.
It's weird. So I don't know. Part of it is like, maybe if it was always on, I would be able to comprehend it better. But it seems like I get shut off.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally shut off when I fall asleep.
That happens to me at times. So the times that I dream, this is a weird. I think my wife says this is a weird ability. I know that I'm dreaming. Like, say if I have a nightmare or something like that, I try to wake up the person next to me so that they can wake me up.
Dude, this is hard. I'm running through a hallway and it's not me. Wake me up.
It freaks my wife out that I know that I need to get out of a dream, and I'm trying to wake her up so that she can wake my physical body up.
Yep. I mean, it would be cool if you were like floating around the universe while you were sleeping. And
then the other part of me dreaming,
or another dimension,
that I wanted to share was that when I dream, I actually can control what I do in my dream.
I've had dreams like that where I've changed the path. Of
the dream. It's like, hey,
not extreme, but I've been able to.
It's like I know that I'm dreaming, and I'm like, oh, I want to do this in my dream.
Yeah,
I think this would be fun in my dream. So I take this like mental vacation while I'm in my dreams. I'm like, I think I want to do this since I know this is a dream. As soon as I know it's a dream.
But that's the key is you've got to somehow figure out your dream and be lucid about it.
Right. And then I'm like, oh yeah, let's go do this. Let's have this adventure now because I know that it's a dream, then I'll wake up.
You just got to hope that your mind doesn't go into a dark place.
Right.
Freddy Krueger and all the nightmares on Elm Street.
You can easily do that, and that's when I'm trying to wake up my wife next to me, and she's like, and then I wake up the next day. It's like, why didn't you wake me up? I was like, what are you talking about?
I was running from Freddy Krueger all night.
She's like, what are you talking about? It's like, you were sleeping, and then I'd be like, didn't you feel that nudge? She's like, yeah, you barely moved. But to me, I feel like
you were probably like doing this.
To me, I feel like I'm pounding her to wake me up, and then she's like, "Yeah, I heard you. I felt you nudge me a tiny bit," and I'm trying to get her to wake me up because I'm in the dream I want to get out of.
Yep,
that's weird.
I mean,
I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. I'm
sure people have. I bet people just don't talk about it.
Right.
I bet people have experienced a lot of weird stuff in their dreams.
And the thing is, I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. I don't even smoke.
I don't even do caffeine.
I have occasional soda here and there, but I don't drink coffee. So.
I can tell you that as I've gotten older, I dream less. it takes a lot to make me dream now.
Oh yeah.
I don't dream as much now.
I do dream a little less now. I have to admit that, but I do. When I do dream, I have the same experience. Like when I know I'm dreaming, I can still control it.
But not as often. It doesn't happen as often.
Yeah, the dream itself does not happen.
Yeah, because I don't know if that's part of like your brain developing. You know, new neural connections being created when you're young.
Yeah.
And then your brain's very active and you dream a lot for memory storage.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm older, it's like, man, we're not going to dream for a whole week. And then maybe Friday you'll get a dream. So and then it could be whatever. I don't know what the dream is from all the information I took in through the whole week. It could be a comedy movie mixed with a horror movie mixed with life experiences. Who knows what it.
Well, you know, I think we covered a lot of stuff. I don't know if you got to teach anything today.
I'm going to teach something.
Yeah. And then I'll teach something. You want to teach first, or you want me to teach first?
Yeah, I can show everybody.
All right, go ahead.
I'm going to take control of this bad boy.
Okay.
Because
I was going to go to another topic, but it would really lengthen this video.
Yeah, so I'm talking about privacy because I was getting into the contact tracing apps earlier and privacy, and that leads into privacy. And one of the things I've noticed being in the industry of computers, IT, is that Microsoft, along with every other company on the planet, Google, Apple, it's all about gathering your behavioral stats. What do you do? You know, what are you doing at what time and who are you doing it with, so we can advertise to you, so we can use that behavioral information in some shape or form or sell it to somebody or make money off of it.
Yeah.
So Microsoft got on the bandwagon big time when they created Windows 10. And one of the first things that we in the industry noticed was all this BS that they added to Windows 10 to gather information from you, to track what you're doing. So I just want to show everybody the system back here that's displaying our logo happens to be a Windows 10 system. And if you're on a Windows 10 system, I'm going to show you where to go to disable some of those settings that collect data from you. So if you click on the little Windows pane in the lower left corner, and you're going to click on that little gear icon, that's settings, or you can just type in settings down here, and we are going to bring up the settings. And depending on what build of Windows 10 you have, the options may be a little different because every quarter to second quarter, Microsoft releases a major update for Windows 10, and they add and remove things from the settings.
Well, that makes it friendly to know where everything is.
Yeah, but for the most part, if you're able to find the section labeled privacy down somewhere around this lower corner here, we're going to go in there, and by default, when you set up your Windows 10 system or you grab a laptop from Best Buy and you turn it on and you're like, great, I'm going to use this new laptop. All these tracking features are enabled. So just head on over to the privacy section in the settings, and you can just read the descriptions of what they're tracking. Let apps use advertising ID to make ads more interesting to you. I don't give a crap about ads, and I don't give a crap if it's relevant to me or not. Turn that off. Don't let... You have an advertising ID assigned to you when you have Windows 10 on your system. That annoys me to begin with, but let's not provide them any other information that they need. Let websites provide locally relevant content by accessing my language list. Who cares? You know what you're looking for. Don't rely on this. Let Windows track app launches to improve start and search results. Turn that off. You don't need that. Show me suggested content in the settings app. Do you need that? No, you don't need that. Turn that off.
So wait, you just shut off these things. You didn't really go into detail about why you don't want these things.
No, I'm not going to go into detail because they're useless. Like some of these things, yes, they can help you by showing you things that you access on a regular basis. But if you access things on a regular basis, chances are they're going to be on your desktop, or you're going to have a link to them right on your taskbar. You're going to be clicking right on them. You don't need to be having Microsoft collect that information and use it for other purposes. Now, from general, that was the general. This is like 4 points in the general. We have inking and typing personalization. This is another place where Microsoft tracks what you're doing. So use your typing history and handwriting patterns to create a local dictionary that makes better suggestions for you. That sounds like it could be good, but it also is something that is collecting information about what you're doing. Turn it off. Just turn it off.
Does that track your handwriting? What's that do?
Right there. Handwriting patterns, but
handwriting recognition.
Yeah, all this data is stuff that can potentially be collected and just used to personalize who you are. To your anonymity is gone. So next thing is location. The reason I'm not going into too much detail on these things is because I could spend a half a day.
Yeah. Okay.
Going over all this stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
So location data. If you're using a laptop or something and you want location data, like where like your cell phone, like it tracks you and it's like, oh, show me Pat's Pizzas near me or something like that. Mm-hmm. If you have a desktop or your laptop stays at home all the time, turn this off. You don't need Microsoft or anyone else, tracking your location. I usually turn that off by default because I hate location data collection, period. So
all right, I'll have to remember to do that on my Mac.
Yeah, and you can go by app too. You can, tell certain apps that you can not have location data. Mm-hmm. But pretty much for the time being, those are the big ones right now. There's other little small things in here, but I'm not going to go over them because I can be here all day. But this stuff was in the beginning always on by default, and it is. Microsoft loves to collect information, and that advertising, I hate that. Relevant ads. And that is all I wanted to show you guys for today. I don't want to get into too much depth.
All right, I'll talk about flash photography.
All right, cool.
Okay, so I don't have the camera attached to the screen, so you're not going to see my settings. If we thought about this ahead of time, I can always plug my
Yeah, you need
HDMI mini, or just HDMI.
I might have one of those.
To the
you go on
there. Okay, so these flashes, I think we bought these flashes for like $20 a piece.
Yes.
They don't have to be expensive. They can be expensive. These are off-camera flashes. Most people with cameras have their on-camera flash that's working that pops up like this. And it's usually providing really harsh light on people, and it's not fun to use. And if you have a lens hood, a lens shade, it's going to cast a shadow on the bottom of your frame when you're photographing people. So using this, I don't recommend. I don't ever use it. Once in a long while, if I am without this, I'll use it. No lens shade because it's gonna block the bottom of the screen with shadow from the lens shade. Some photographers tell me they're afraid. Professional photographers, they don't like using flash. They don't like the look, whatever. Well, that's true if you have too harsh of a flash. So turn that flash power down. This has got a manual setting on this camera here for flash settings, and I can change this setting and move it up. I'm gonna use the lowest setting because for this demonstration I don't need it. And I usually like to have it off the camera, but if you don't have a choice and you're going to have to use it on camera, I use a light modifier. Usually I use a Omni Bounce to put on top of it. It doesn't soften the light. It just spreads it out more evenly throughout a room. But it also requires your flash power to be a little higher. So when I use my flash, it's rarely pointing straight to people. That's only if I really need extra light. I will do that, but even then I really don't. I usually bounce it to the ceiling, bounce it to the wall, bounce it behind you. You play with this thing, and the goal of a flash also is always to try to replicate natural light, because natural light is always more pleasant to look at than a flash. So what I do is I'm using bouncing off to the side. I think it's more pleasant than straight up, because straight up they still kind of get those raccoon eyes that you don't want. And I'm setting my camera to manual, so everything's locked down. It's very predictable. I'm in a room like this. I already know what my settings are going to be. Why? Because I've done this millions of times at events, at shoots. My ISO is already, I know it's going to be 4 to 800. I'm going to put my aperture at f4, and my shutter speed is going to be about 60, anywhere from 30 to 60. I'll do that, and I'm fine with it. And I have my power set at 1/16 power here, so I'm gonna.
I didn't have one somewhere.
That's fine. So I'm gonna shoot, and I know what I'm getting right away. So I have it bounce off the side.
You can take a shot at me, and then I'll show it.
Okay, all right.
I'll show it in the YouTube version.
Yeah. So that's that's way too bright because I was shooting that, which is dark, all dark colors. And let's do that again, okay? So the great thing with digital cameras is that, you know what? I don't even need to use a flash because I was shooting at a good enough. It has a built-in meter. You know what works and what doesn't. I usually go one stop under what the meter reads, and then that's a quick, easy on-camera flash stuff. But then most of these flashes, you can buy wireless remote triggers, and I recommend this. You put it on a light stand, or you put on these little foot thingies. A light stand is better because you can replicate more of the natural light, and they usually come with these extra tabs too. So this is a bounce. This is going to bounce light forward. This spreads the light. I'm not going to use that, but just back in the day when photojournalists would go out and do a shoot, they would actually have a index card, and they put rubber band around there and hold the index card here to throw the light forward and not have it directly at your subject. So I can set this up here like this. You can get a cheap system. You can get a cheap wireless trigger system, and this is just a single contact right here, center contact, so it's compatible with just about any camera system. And Sean's gonna go fix the light because he can't help it. We bumped the light over just a little bit there, and so this is gonna trigger. I'm gonna test it. See, it's triggering that flash. All right. All right. So I have a lot more light than I need, so I'm gonna really bring down my ISO. I brought it down to 100 this time. Oh, that's still a little too dark.
Too dark.
And look, you have your LCD screen. You don't have to wait to mess up. I'm also shooting in RAW, so I can change it up. There you go. So it ended up being ISO 200, f4, shutter speed 60, and straight out of the camera is properly exposed.
Very nice.
And that is a quick tip on flash photography. And when you're photographing a human being, I always recommend shooting starting at a 45-45. So it's a 45-degree access from the camera and 45-degree up from the subject. And you'll get more natural light because that's usually how the sun hits people on their face.
Yeah, not like the flash is going directly to their face.
Right, yeah, so we don't want that. So that's just a quick tip. If you want any more tips on that, just let me know in the comments, and I will share more tips next time on flash photography or any type of photography that you're interested in.
Sweet.
All right.
All right, and that just about wraps it up, unless you got anything else.
No, we wanted to sing a song, but we didn't want copyright problems.
Yeah, what happens is every time if we play some music or something, we get a copyright
or muted or something like that.
So we can't kind of do that anymore.
So what we're gonna do instead is we're going to do the song Facebook Live on Quarantine Karaoke.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about it.
Yes, and so we are doing a giveaway today, right?
We're doing a giveaway? What's
yes.
the giveaway?
A giveaway is if you have a band or band member.
Give it away, give it away,
give it away now.
Give it away.
So we'll announce that more too on Quarantine Karaoke. We'll be on there, and we're going to let people know that if they have band members, you can do it here too. If you have band members and you guys are quarantined away from each other, but you guys would like to perform together, I just did a spit there. Good thing I was talking that way.
Didn't hit the camera. They're too far away.
Nope. So if you have band members and you have a vocalist, you have a guitarist, a drummer, and all that stuff, if you record all separately, we would mix it into one video for you. But we are picking our winners by posting a comment down here, and we'll put your name. If you put a name on the comments of this video, saying that you want to be part of the contest. So just put contest.
Yep.
In the comments. So in the content or comments.
I love you, Subban and Sean. Contest.
Just contest. Just contest is fine. And then at the end of the week, we'll choose the winner, and we'll let you know how to go about doing the recordings so that we can mix your sound together as if you were all together again.
Yeah.
So that is a what is it? What's a $300 value? It's a $300 value.
That's like $1 billion value. Because editing, it takes forever sometimes.
So it's like a $300 studio value to mix.
Here, the graphic of the hat on you.
to mix that.
Poor people on your live.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for those that are on Facebook Live with my glasses and.
If I look forward, I get the hat and glasses.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look this way. So all you have to do is on my comments underneath the video, just put contest. If you have a band member or know of band members that want to put videos together, we are giving that away at the end of the week, and we're gonna draw it out of the hat. So we'll draw it out of this hat.
All right, Star Wars hat.
Put your name in there, draw it out. We're gonna pick it out, and we're gonna be like, hey, we're gonna shoot a music video for you guys. Well, not actually edit. We're not gonna shoot it. We're gonna edit. So
give it away. Give it away.
Give it away now.
Who was that? You Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yes. Red Hot Chili Peppers. So
music trivia.
Watch out for our quarantine karaoke Facebook Live music video that Sean and I are gonna be doing together.
And it will not be the song Tarzan Boy. I can tell you that.
No.
It will not be Tarzan Boy.
No, but we are gonna do one just regular karaoke straight up. Facebook Live,
okay.
Not much editing because we can't do it on our channel because it will be not deleted or whatever. So we're gonna do it on quarantine karaoke.
Yeah, I don't want any copyright claims.
Nope.
Hate that.
All right, so until next time, thank you guys for joining Average Joe Daily Show, and we look forward to seeing you guys for the next show. We'll be back. Tomorrow?
Probably tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll have more information to share and more
nonsense, random nonsense.
Things the average Joe thinks about. I hope it's average.
Maybe. Or is it just us that we think about it?
Well, the average Joe that we hang out with, maybe.
Maybe.
Actually, we don't hang out with a whole lot of people, though.
No.
Okay.
Quarantining right now.
All right. Until next time, see you guys later.
All right. Peace.
Bye.